Hello and welcome to today's webinar where we focus on the importance of partnership across both our platform and content offering. Huge welcome to Richard Hanman, Product Manager at Homebase. We started our journey back in January with an ambitious go live date to ensure everything was in place for the start of the peak season at Easter, and we are sharing our story of how we have worked together to achieve the deadline and utilising our content team to meet mandatory requirements. So I'm going to move over to Richard to say hi and share your wonderful platform, and I will stop sharing so you can, Richard.
Thanks, Al. Morning, everybody. Let's just see if we can get this technology to do its thing. There we go. Hopefully, in a matter of seconds, you should be able to see our Thrive dashboard. Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
So as Al says, my name is Richard Hanman. I'm the Product Training Manager at Homebase. Been here for 20 years in January and in retail for 30 years since I left uni way back when. So like you guys, Thrive users, we kind of came to Thrive fairly recently. We started looking for a new LMS provider back in January with a ambitious go live date of the 14th of March. So, and all through that kind of setup period, Thrive were just brilliant in terms of giving us the support that we wanted, trying to make everything as easy as possible, inspirational in terms of the way content is loaded and the end users navigate it, and really did kind of work with us to kind of get us ready to go live. We had a hard go live date because we need to get all our 4,500 team members trained on role specific product and process training ready for Easter to be able to serve and sell. So that's kind of what we prioritized. So in our explore page, you can see there's various tabs: gardening, decor, room solutions, etc. That's where team members, existing team members, got their role specific training. And then across the top, we got our induction for new team members that joined us. The way we kind of structure product training in Homebase is whichever department you work in, there's an aspiration for those team members to be experts in terms of the products that we sell. To become an expert, they complete 3 levels of training: bronze, silver, and gold. And all that training is hosted on Thrive. And achieving gold gets the team member a Sitting Guilds accredited certificate. So when somebody says you're an expert, who says you're an expert, we can say Sitting Guilds have endorsed the training. That's kind of our explore page. Our priority for launch, as I say, was to get everybody's training records moved across from current LMS to Thrive and content, and then get all our team members through the role-specific training for peak. After peak, we then created a self-development learning library, working with Thrive to kind of take loads of useful, ready-to-go content from Content Club and host it on Thrive. And we've recently kind of started to create our own user-generated content space, the F&R you see down the bottom left-hand corner, where some of our head office teams can create their own training for their own teams, but have it hosted and tracked and all visible through Thrive. That's kind of been our kind of priority. Have I missed anything out, Al?
No, that's lovely. Now, what's your homepage looking like?
So if I click on our homepage, we encourage all our learners to kind of check it at least once a week. I guess it's similar to most people's home pages. We kind of right at the top what's been added recently, so people can kind of see what's new and different. You can see there we've just been on a bit of an EDI and menopause awareness comms. We've literally just started. We've done some recent health and safety training through Thrive on the right hand side, and then a bit further down. Whilst there are 4 main seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. Within our business, we have lots of micro seasons where products kind of come in, sell, and then go out really, really quickly. Christmas trees we were just mentioning now before we joined the call. So a little kind of training guide there for everybody in store on how to help customers choose and look after their Christmas trees. We've just finished our Winning Autumn training campaign, which is all around decorating. Within Thrive, we have our bronze, silver, gold Deco expert training, but then we back that up with face-to-face supplier training. So we've just literally had our 5 biggest brands go around all our stores and deliver lots of face-to-face supplier training to embed what they're learning digitally on Thrive, learning off each other, having a go with products, painting with different products, etc. And our team members love the fact that they get some knowledge before they attend, then they get to see the suppliers and the products. They give us loads of great feedback that that's the way they prefer to learn. These sessions are 30 minutes long on the sales floor, and then we incentivize that by having little competitions to win a load of prizes. That's kind of, let's go back to our homepage. What we've done fairly recently, we recognise that our mandatory training, that the stuff that you have to do, was a bit boring, a bit dated, a bit clunky. It wasn't looked at for at least 5 years, as far as I can remember. And in a kind of digital sexy world that is Thrive, it kind of stood out as being a bit, we need to look at that. So we reached out to Al and the Content Club and their creative content designers and said, how can we kind of sex this up a little bit, make it look a bit funky, a bit shiny, but still fit for purpose? And the Content Club team did a great job of kind of taking our existing content, making it look shiny and bright and new, shortening the time it takes to complete, which we got great feedback from team members, was they actually remember the content that was in the compliance training, and we were still able to kind of Homebase brand it to kind of make it bespoke to us. And you can see that the number of people that completed training in the last sort of few months is really good. And we do that for our team members in stores as well as our team members in store support, what we call head office. The way that kind of worked was we had the original content. We got our internal SMEs to review it to make sure it's current and up to date. We then shared that content with the Content Club in Thrive. They kind of made it all shiny and sexy. And then we got our internal SMEs to kind of sign it off, review it and complete it before we kind of launched it through comms to our store teams and our head office teams.
Lovely. Thank you, Richard.
No worries. You want to stop sharing or keep sharing?
Yeah, we'll swap. We'll swap if that's okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Move along.
There you go.
Super. Okay, so thank you so much for that. Fantastic example of the platform and multiple use cases there. So what we wanted to run through was how the wraparound service and content supported you with what you've achieved now. So initially, one of the things outside of mandatory that we looked at was the Homebase core competencies that you can see on screen here. And we created a personalized content map utilizing relevant multiple formats of content to support these. So something that's really important, and we'd advise anyone, is if you're rolling out a new platform, whether it's ours or a third party, is not to flood the site with content. So sort of plan on what's really key and crucial and get people sort of excited enough and sort of whet that appetite for learning, and then sort of have that plan to trickle release. And that just ensures your learners stay engaged. And also, I guess as well, Richard, you said there that the content had been well received. And how often do your learners have time, sort of non-peak times, to learn on things that aren't mandatory?
Honestly, very, very little, because most of the 4,500 team members that we've got in Homebase are based in stores, so they're customer facing on the sales floor, kind of serving and selling. So the fact that Thrive's accessible via a mobile app was a game changer, because our previous LMS wasn't. It was all desktop. And these guys and girls in stores just don't have desktops, they don't have desks. They're on their feet all day serving customers. So the fact that they could kind of use their own device to access training that they wanted, when they wanted, where they wanted, how they wanted, was, yeah, it just really drives engagement and completion rates. And it's so easy for them to kind of share it with another team member, or like it, or comment on it, or if they think something needs updating, they could just kind of flag it to us, and we can respond to that normally within sort of 2 or 3 hours of them raising the issue to us, and just shut that down really, really quickly. But yes, no, really, really, really key. They probably use it in the coffee breaks, in the lunch breaks, which we don't advocate, but they find it easier to do it when they're sat down having a cup of tea, and it's a lot easier to kind of take it in. So we really focus on bite-sized learning that they can do in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes max sessions, and still have a sandwich and fully get back out on the shop floor again.
Brilliant, thank you. And when you rolled out the platform, Did you have on the shop floor sort of ambassadors and super users that could support anyone else who was sort of logging in for the first time?
Yeah, we did two things really. So we did obviously had a comms campaign. So we only used Thrive to host our L&D content. Our previous LMS provider was an L&D platform, a comms platform, an intranet of kind of policies and procedures, a one-stop shop. And we moved away from that because the feedback we got from our users was it was harder to find the content they wanted, because effectively it's 3 buckets of content and they're trying to find the one piece of content they want in 3 buckets. So we had a separate comms platform. So we use that comms. Thrive is coming, get excited about it, teaser videos, and all the things that Thrive could do that the previous LMS couldn't do, just to drive that engagement, excitement. We then ran sessions via Teams, sort of 10-15-minute sessions on how to log on, how to navigate, how to find stuff that you wanted. We issued launch posters to stores to say, scan this QR code to get the app version, etc. And then we had a network of what we call digital champions. So this could be a team member within our 150 stores. They're grouped into 10 divisions. So within each division, there'll be 2 digital champs. Could be a team member, somebody that's tech savvy. You know, the 20-year-olds are brilliant at this kind of stuff and need to help the senior ones like me kind of get their head around it. But it doesn't matter who they were in store, as long as they're tech savvy and know how to download an app and show anybody else in store how to navigate. Then we just kind of lent on them, and they liked kind of the kind of recognition that went with that. So that helped. The teaser campaign, the comms campaign, the digital champ network, and we also produced on our homepage is what we call a Learn Digitally Skill Builder, which is for those that kind of prefer, like, you know, I want to follow the instructions step by step. You know, which button do I press? What screen comes up? Where do I click? And it literally just shows you how to do everything on Thrive in 4 pages, and that's on our homepage, and it's part of our mandatory training for induction for new starters.
I think that's really nice. It's really important as well, isn't it, for those that might not find it as intuitive, to sort of cater for those as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
So strategy, as we know, in L&D is super important to all of us. So it's important for us when we're supporting our customers with content or rolling out the platform. And that's kind of the key thing, is the why are we doing this? How is this linked to business goals? Obviously, in retail, you want to sell more whilst developing and engaging your people at the same time. And these are some typical questions that we might ask during these sessions that are part of the content service. So I've got a question for you, Richard. Might put you on the spot, sorry. If someone is just embarking on this journey, whether it's, you know, platform and content or new content, what would you say would be the top 3 things to focus on? It doesn't matter if it's not on the screen.
For us, because we had a hard end date with current LMS, and we had Easter literally just 10 weeks away from when we engaged with Thrive, we kind of didn't want to run before we could walk. Now, we know there's lots of kind of stuff that we can do in addition to what we currently do on Thrive, but we weren't ready to kind of learn it and implement it, and our learners weren't ready to kind of use it right from day one. So we're really clear that for launch, we had 3 specific goals, and we were going to be laser focused on that, and then get everybody on board with the platform and being able to find the content they wanted to do the job really quickly, really easily. And then I think we're still Thrive babies. We call ourselves Thrive babies. March till November. We're not even 1 year old yet.
No.
We'll hang on to Thrive baby tag at least to the first year. But then obviously we're into peak, so we kind of back off from an L&D point of view. They've got all the skills and knowledge to be able to do the job. They're now obviously using that knowledge to serve and sell. And now we've come out the other side of peak. We can now start to kind of introduce some new enhancements, new content, new campaigns that aren't just around, role specific training, just some, stuff to help you in your day life, really, home and work life, really. Hence the menopause awareness and the EDI campaigns running at the moment. But yeah, so keep it simple.
Nice balance.
Focus on the stuff that.
Thank you very much. So what would be really great to understand, so we said there about how your learners are primarily shop floor based and they might sort of take their learning and look at their learning in their tea break. Are there any particular formats that have been utilised the most to drive content on the shop floor at Homebase?
Most of our learners tell us that videos is best. They just like with Google or YouTube. If we can create a short, sharp, punchy video, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes long, we get more people click on it. We get better engagement from it as well. So yeah, certainly our learners prefer short, sharp videos. So we can create them using software we've got at Homebase and then upload them directly into Thrive in a matter of seconds, tag it to the relevant topics, and then send the comms out to say, here it is, here's the link, go find.
Brilliant, thank you. And then, so we've seen the great platform and how this is being used, and we mentioned there about some of perhaps the mandatory existing content wasn't quite as shiny. So how easy was it to work with us to take that existing content as the foundation and for us to sort of work on that not only for Homebase, but to then take the basis of that now sits in our retail sector? How did you find that process?
It was really easy. I think whenever you're creating any kind of training, content's king. So we had some content that we for all our mandatory courses that we knew needed updating. So we got our SMEs to update it and sign it off and say, this is currently GDPR you've got there on screen, and we've got stores in Ireland and UK, and because of Brexit and all the beautiful things that brings with us, we also had to make sure that it was suitable for ROI and non-ROI team members. So we updated the content, but as soon as you guys had the content, we were amazed how quickly you turned that around into really engaging content, sometimes within an hour. It was really
very fast. Yeah,
it was really quick. And then we could go back to our SMEs almost like the same day or the same week to say, look, from that content you gave us, we've worked with Thrive. Here's what they've come up with. Can you review it in terms of, the subject matter expert? Is it accurate? Is it up to date? Are you happy that that's the training we want to deliver? We then had a user test group that kind of said, look, if you were asked to kind of complete this training, what do you think of it? Is it engaging? Is it memorable? Can you remember the key points that was in there? Within each module, we had a learning plan, and the learning plan consisted of the training and a validation quiz. And we set the validation quiz pass mark at 100%.
wow.
And the only way you knew the answers to it is by completing the training. But yeah, that went really, really good. The one you got there, look, for example, it's a 10-minute learning plan. Over 3,000 team members have done it. Actually, I think it's probably more than that if I get a more recent view. If I quickly go into my view of GDPR, 9,145 is our current completion rate on that video, on that training, for example.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Mm.
Thank you. And so these are some of the topics we worked on you with, because you very kindly let us have your source content and gave us access to your SMEs. And so now we've got a really nice retail sector suite, which Homebase helped us to create. And so everyone benefits as well. You said that feedback's been good on the mandatory content. Also, we tried to make it different. But it's been really lovely to sort of work with you to create that. And I know we've got some other topic areas coming up that we'll look at together. So I guess what would be really helpful, I think, for our audience is if you could share how you manage the balance of product knowledge training and the mandatory whilst driving revenue on the shop floor.
I guess we've got two audiences really. We've got new starters. So as part of their induction and onboarding, they have to complete the mandatory training. It's non-negotiable. It's part of, welcome to Homebase. We need to make sure you're safe, secure, and legally compliant. And they have to do that, and we give them time during their induction period to do that. For our existing team members, the beauty of Thrive is any mandatory training, if it needs to be taken annually, like some of the legal compliance training has to be refreshed every year, we can assign them to the specific audience. We can set the time it takes to complete it. We can set the time you need to retake it to keep it safe and legal. And our store managers love the dashboard, because the only training we assign is mandatory training. Any role specific training is not mandatory. You do it because you want to, because that's the department you work in. So you can give the best service and sales to customers. But mandatory training is compulsory. We assign it to each store, each division, each head office audience, and then those audience managers can very, very quickly go on the dashboard and instantly at the touch of a button see, what percentage they are in terms of compliance, who has, who hasn't, and that just drives all those conversations that our managers have a duty of care to keep everybody safe, legal, and that ownership's on them. So if they're not 100%, what are they doing about it? What conversations are they having? So it's, it kind of takes us having to get involved in all those kind of conversations. We just create the content, make it available, and then make it easy for managers to see where they're at.
Brilliant. So get that good oversight.
Yeah.
So looking at sort of what's next and how we're working together on the content side. So we know that there's some changes over at Homebase with the sales team, and we were looking at a content gap actually, which is going to benefit not just our retail customers, but all of our core customers as well managing the sales team. So how will this help you once we start creating this content? Who's it going to help audience-wise?
So we've just created a new role at Homebase called Divisional Showroom Sales Managers. And these are experienced managers in Homebase. They understand Homebase stores. They understand showroom, kitchens and bathroom business. And what they're kind of been recruited to do is kind of support store managers get the best out of their kitchen and bathroom business. So these DSMs, as we call them, divisional showroom managers, they are potentially managing a remote team of up to 250 people in total between them. There's some set hard KPI measures that our salespeople in store are measured against. So that populates a scorecard, a dashboard, if you like. So then our DSMs can then prioritize who they need to go and support, coach, motivate, feedback, develop the performance, and they need a skill set to be able to do that. And that's what we're hoping that this training on screen will help that DSM audience do, help them manage a remote sales team.
Brilliant. So we'll set up a nice scoping session soon.
Yes, that'd be good.
Thank you. So other popular topics that we're seeing with content at the moment is ESG. So that's huge, something we should all be thinking about. Some of the content we have on the roadmap includes the importance of ESG reporting and what you need to include. Planning development needs, not just something to sort of think about at review time. I think for all of us, typically coming up to Christmas and New Year, we start to reflect when we've got that time. Might have had a nice glass of sherry or three, and we sort of look at sort of what our focus is for the next year, our personal growth in the new year, where we sort of set our own goals. Mental health is always important for everyone. We've seen that topic sort of consistently remain popular and change because it's happening everywhere. So we see that a lot of our resources are being utilised frequently to help not only employees but managers too. And leadership styles, super hot topic over the last 18 months, ranging from new line manager essentials to some of our content we're creating for execs. And I think that's a big focus for the roadmap over the next year also. So as we heard there from you, Richard, about the brands of paint and training rolled out in person on the shop floor and how well received that was at Homebase, we're seeing sort of across all of our customers that blending is becoming more important to learners, blended learning even. So now we have sort of people spending perhaps more routine time back in the office. If there's a head office presence, we're hearing more about people looking for in-person workshops. They like learning from one another, being in a room. So some of the things we're creating is programs designed to be facilitated. So we are creating slide packs and facilitator notes, as well as other resources such as podcasts that could be listened to ahead of the session. So the facilitation guides are to sort of support delivery. And what we're also seeing is it doesn't necessarily have to be delivered by L&D and other organisations, but enabling sort of team leaders or managers to be able to facilitate themselves. So Richard, where you said there about, so we saw like Farrow and Ball and Dulux and things like that, do you plan a schedule of supplier sessions over the year, or is it something you sort of plan as and when?
Yeah, no. So we have a rolling 12-month calendar. So in kind of January, February, March, we'll be focusing store team members to get their knowledge around horticulture, seasonal gardening, things like barbecues and furniture and lawnmowers and stuff like that. Outdoor decorating projects and home projects, like, get washing your pressure washer, your patio after the winter. So we'll focus on getting everybody's knowledge current and up to date on that in kind of January, February, March through bronze, silver, gold. January bronze, silver, February, March gold, ready for Easter. And Easter's early next year. It's the last weekend in March, so that's kind of got us on our toes. And then April, May, June, that is our peak trading. So we back off in terms of pushing that new training, because the trading peak rather than prep for peak. And then again in August, September, October, we then focus on indoor decorating, hence the paint training that we've done. So customers are moving indoors, they're getting ready for Christmas, they're tightening up the spare room before Granny comes around and criticises and all that kind of stuff. Getting extra sofa beds and dining sets for if it's your turn to host Christmas. So we focus on that in the autumn, because that's when customers are doing those projects. And now winning winter for us is all around making sure our team in store are ready to sell kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, appliances, flooring and tiling, because they're the big projects for us in the winter months. There's a January sale in kitchens and bedrooms and bathrooms, and New Year's resolutions. Everybody asks Santa for a new kitchen for Christmas, don't they? So it's New Year's resolution. This is the year they're going to get it done. So
Yeah,
that's a big peak season for us. One thing we're looking to do extra next year is we don't have a lot of training around basic DIY, because we're a home and garden retailer. So some of the core DIY electrical plumbing sections, so we're going to plug that gap next year, and that'll probably be, looking at my calendar, in September. We won't be allowed to launch it during peak for obvious reasons. We don't want to take the team away from customer. July and August, everybody goes on holiday anyway for their 2 weeks in the sun, so we'll launch in September when schools are back, universities are back, team members are back to full strength in store before we push on and do the room solution stuff in winter.
very interesting. I think my husband could do a basic DIY training. Richard. Stuff doesn't get done. Okay, super. And then Q&A. So I guess over to our audience, any participants that might have any questions. Oh, super. We've got, Go on, Richard.
Hi, Dion. You're asking, for video content, is there a preference for A, real person speaking to camera, B, animations, or C, visual content? Depends who you ask that question to. If you ask the question to our learners, so the people who we do the trade for, they would go A. They always prefer a real person speaking to camera. So, a buyer introducing their new range of whatever they've bought goes down really, really well, especially if it's recorded on the shop floor in front of the fixture, because it makes it real. And you get that emotional attachment from, that person is the buyer. They bought this great product. They've now sent to stores. They want you to get excited about it and sell it. So that's our learner's preference. If you ask our buying team, though, they're all kind of fairly camera shy. Not that many of them are quite confident enough to stand in front of a camera. They always tell me they've got a voice for radio and a face for radio, but there are a few, and we're using them as kind of a bit of a, icebreakers, kind of show the rest of the way. But not everybody's keen to put the face in front of a camera. So in that case, we can then either do voiceover, where this is that person speaking the words, but it's animated to a slide, and that becomes a video, or we just do a video and with add the content on that. We do use animations a little bit, but not too much. We don't want the training to look a bit kindergarten, kind of cartoon character kind of stuff. So yeah, we do use some animation, but not a lot. Hopefully that helps, Dion.
Any other questions while we have Richard here?
Are you using any AI technology to produce content? We use some software called PowerToon, which is amalgamation of the word PowerPoint and cartoon, PowerToon. That helps us create lots of kind of video-based content really quick and really easy, and we can just upload that as a file straight to Thrive. We're just currently working with the tech team at Thrive to integrate dashboard reporting into Power BI, which uses AI to kind of, pull the information you want from training records. But we're not kind of currently using any AI technology to create content at the moment. So, we went to the Thrive conference, and there was a good discussion there around, is it a good thing, is it a bad thing? And kind of even the experts aren't quite sure yet. So we're kind of just sitting on the fence on that one at the moment. So we'd rather get our people talking about our products to our team, just because it makes it more real. Artificial intelligence is that, isn't it? It's artificial. So not saying no, but not at the moment.
We'll hang on for a little bit longer in case there's any other questions. But huge thanks to everyone who's attended. Again, just really appreciate you swapping platforms to join us at the time of the webinar. Okay, well, if you want to reach out to either of us, please do. Thanks so much for joining, and thank you, Richard, so much for your time, and enjoy South Africa.
Yeah. Bye-bye.